Binance might be creating its own blockchain island nation. China releases an official ranking system for blockchain and cryptocurrency projects. Germany's second largest stock exchange to debut a cryptocurrency trading app with zero fees. The SEC launches a scam ICO to show how investors can be defrauded. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance hopes to attract big businesses with its interoperable blockchain platform. The Ukraine legalizes cryptocurrency amid debate. Alibaba CEO Jack Ma declares that blockchain is not a bubble, Bitcoin is. And despite consensus, the markets continue to sag. We've got all your headlines mixed with some daily market analysis. I'm Elio Trades, and your FUD TV Daily Update starts now. Welcome back, FUD Nation. Now, diving in right here, we are on the Bitcoin charts. We have about a little more than a one-year view here going back to 2017, and we just want to look here. We can see as we come off this crash here that we experienced starting in early January, we've seen a bounce, we've seen a second bounce, and now we're going down again. Probably going to end up somewhere in this $6,000 to $7,000 range and hopefully consolidate there, find some support, and then instead of wobbling and bouncing so much, maybe we can actually just build real momentum. That would be the goal, is to start cupping, seeing this fall here turn into more of a semicircle here, a cup, and start to work back towards that all-time high. Of course, we know where new investors are going to come from. There hasn't been any new big investors into crypto in the last 30 to 60 to 90 days. We haven't attracted new retail investors. We haven't attracted new institutional investors. We've attracted a lot of VCs and big sort of institutional players declaring that they're going to start investing, but that hasn't really started happening en masse yet. We have just declarations of interest, and we also have things like New York Stock Exchange and GDAX announcing Coinbase rather announcing custodial products that will allow for institutional and hedge funds and other big groups to start trading cryptocurrencies in a much more fluid and comfortable way than they had been in the past. These will bring new investors into the fold. A new high in Bitcoin of 20K will bring new investors into the fold. But right now, none of the moves, none of the good news is ushering someone who has no idea or hasn't been involved in cryptocurrency, or worse yet, has been soured by the crash of cryptocurrency. They're not back yet because they haven't still seen the new high of Bitcoin. And that really is the thing that's going to allow people to believe that this has the resilience as an industry, and Bitcoin as a crypto has the resilience to be bought into even after the worst crashes. So if you're scratching your head as to why the market's turning down a little bit this week, I honestly totally get that, but there's also very good reasons to explain it. If anything, it reaffirms what's really important, which is bringing new investors into the pool here instead of recycling the same people just trading between coins that are already in the market. I think you need new people coming in, bringing in proper capital influxes like we had back in November when everybody first really found out about Bitcoin. At any rate, let's focus on some great fundamentals and talk about the news. We have word that Binance might be hatching a sci-fi-esque plan to start their own blockchain island nation, and it's called their Genesis plan. Now, of course, their co-founder, not CZ, but their other co-founder denies this, saying that it's tarnishing their reputation, it's a maliciously stilted article. But regardless, we gotta investigate this because this seems like quite the coup for a blockchain project that's seeking to find proper legislation and proper regulation and find a good home. We already know that they're willing to go and move to Malta. So seeing them, of course, after seeing CZ in those shorts, let's pop that image of CZ in those shorts up. Obviously, we know that they're up for the island life. So just to fuel this, because this seems like an absolutely fascinating story, and if it does happen, I'll be the first one to be moving to Binance land or whatever, Byland. I don't know what they're going to call it. So according to a fintech media outlet, Yibin Kaijing cited insider sources familiar with the matter to corroborate the story, saying that the company Binance had already bought an island and had exciting plans to develop it into an unprecedented blockchain island home, a sort of paradisal kingdom for blockchain projects. So apparently the other co-founder of Binance, He Yi, said that the article in question is maliciously tarnishing the image of Binance and causing regulators in the country to have a bad impression of Binance. To create a country, it is absolutely absurd to fabricate such a story. So I don't know if they're denying this because denying it is the right way to do it, or if they're actually denying it because this is the most absurd story that's ever been covered in cryptocurrency. But I don't think it's that crazy. And I think when you have as much influence and as much position as Binance has, they understand that they're not only an emerging empire as they are, but they're going to start becoming a feeder, a real cultivator of blockchain innovation and projects. They're going to have their Binance labs. They're going to have their investment, their VC. They are not a joke, and they're coming with a lot of innovation. So I could see Binance really blossoming into an absolute behemoth. Binance and its other holdings and its other this and its other, I would say that their capital extension and the amount of capital that they could get their hands on would be a scary amount, certainly enough to buy an island. And we just got word that China released its very own state-backed, state-issued cryptocurrency rating system, apparently for investigators and researchers to better understand the veracity and the quality of these projects. Right here is a list of these projects ranked, and you can see these sort of categories that they use to develop these rankings. They have the technology, application, innovation, the total index, and then they provided an overall ranking, and some of these are tied, of course. Ethereum takes home the #1 spot, best technology, best application, most innovation, and their total index gives them a 129.4. That puts them at #1. Of course, right after that is Steam, and we've talked about this many times. Steam's blockchain is very impressive, and that's part of what makes Dan Larimer as an engineer so impressive. There's a lot to love about Steam. Of course, Lisk shortly after that, which I was impressed to see Lisk this high up on the ratings, and then Neo. And then I started to just get a little bit confused here because I just see a lot of ratings that I don't necessarily agree with. Tied for 13th, obviously, is Bitcoin, tied with Verge. Anyway, obviously, I could go on and dissect each rating on this list, but what do you guys really think about this? What do you guys think about these ratings? Do you think they're accurate? Do you think they're fair? What do you think China has to gain? Do you think they have any bias here? Or do you think their goal is just to educate the public? I'm curious what you guys think China's up to. And Germany's second largest stock exchange is going forward with a zero-fee cryptocurrency trading platform. That's right, the second largest stock exchange in Germany is about to do crypto. Just like the New York Stock Exchange, we have word that Coinbase is going institutional. The amount of institutional sort of traditional investment groups that are switching to crypto and allowing for crypto investment, this is a magical time, and it's just great news to keep seeing this happening. There's not really any need to go into this too much, but this is just very exciting news, very bullish news, and we can hope to see the whole financial world. It should be that you could buy crypto wherever you can buy stocks, securities. You should be able to buy cryptocurrency anywhere there, and hopefully that's the world we're approximating. That's the world we're going to get to soon. And in very important news, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance just released their interoperable protocol. So they essentially released a blockchain platform that is interoperable with Ethereum and private chains, which will allow sort of businesses or enterprises who have more specific blockchain requirements to carry out their goings-on, their businesses on the Ethereum blockchain with the specificities that they need. This is very interesting stuff, and to me, it pushes the infrastructure of Ethereum forward a whole generation with this. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance explained that the EEA specification provides insight into future scalability, privacy, and security, a single interoperable development framework for spanning both permissioned and public Ethereum networks. This is the cusp, this is the crux here of the value that they're delivering. And of course, this opens the floodgates to a ton of enterprises that weren't able to really find their right situation on Ethereum's blockchain. And apparently this has sparked interest from Intel. So we know that there's a lot of big players that have been waiting on the sidelines for the right cues to get into this industry, whether it's institutional custody issues or whether it's here allowing for interoperability between private and permission chains. So obviously, given that this has attracted the interest of Intel, and like we were saying, transmission between public and permissioned blockchains, that is a lot of what WanChain is focusing on too. So obviously, as much as you're bullish about WanChain and all the things that they're doing, as Ethereum starts to really push this interoperability thing, that could allow for them to enable a lot of the same stuff that WanChain is promising, or a lot of the same stuff that a lot of these other blockchains are promising. To me, it just makes Ethereum's infrastructure so much more valuable, and it makes me very, very excited about the next few months for Ethereum and the whole blockchain space. And the Ukraine just drafted a law to legalize cryptocurrency, but it's actually coming in the middle of a very hotly contested debate. So this man is a member of the Ukrainian parliament. His name's Alexei Mushak, and he just opened up sort of an open format document that's regulating cryptocurrency. And essentially, instead of publishing it and saying, here's the law on cryptocurrency, he opened it for public edits, public feedback in a Google Doc. So people are literally across the country going and typing in their edits into this Google Doc. And of course, within the Google Doc, a total debate exploded about the regulation in cryptocurrency and whether this was necessary at all. It's a very interesting process here, but I've got to give it up to the Ukraine for having an inclusive process, because when you do this in a really democratic way, where you allow everybody to just air their thoughts about the actual law, edit the law. Could you imagine editing a law that Congress is going to pass and everybody getting to put in their potential edits? Imagine that when your edits gets accepted. That's pretty awesome. I don't know. It just seems like this very democratic, communally sourced way to do this. And I have to give my sort of kudos to Ukraine for even trying this, because it's obviously going to be so messy. legislation being formed in this way. I can't help but be really excited when I saw this. And again, we get cries from Jack Ma that Bitcoin is a bubble, but this time he's restrained in saying blockchain's not a bubble. He explains that blockchain's not a bubble, Bitcoin is a bubble. At any rate, it's hard to separate the political speak here from what he actually believes, as we all know that in China, it's not an open forum here for people to just say whatever they want. If you really want to get ahead in this sort of Chinese business world, you have to kowtow to the government. You have to show respect to the central government, or else you don't get your business affairs handled. Look at all the biggest blockchain projects in China. Neo, Ontology, VeChain. Now Matrix AI is looking like it's got some crazy connections. And there's a ton of these examples with the key. And we see that with those connections to the government comes partnerships beyond our wildest imaginations, like VeChain with their $25 billion partnership that they locked in yesterday. So we know that by cozying up and playing the rules with the Chinese government, which, by the way, China is incredibly powerful these days and only growing in its influence globally, that is the way forward for a lot of these elites in China. So for us to take their comments as too literal, I think is the wrong approach. I think we have to understand the climate in China and understand that what Jack Ma says is a political statement, whether he thinks of it that way or not. So he's just not freely espousing his beliefs here. This is a controlled statement that's very much so meant in support of whatever the government's doing, in my humble opinion. That's my hot take. And Howie Coin. Yes, the SEC has introduced a fake ICO essentially as a mold by which to identify fraud. So they're saying if your ICO has any of the characteristics of this ICO, and they named it the Howie Coin obviously because the Howie test is the test that they use to establish whether something is a security or not by federal law. So the Howie test, the Howie Coin, cute, cute, cute. Let's go ahead and look at this just for 1 second. So here we are on howiecoins.com, which I highly suggest you check out. It looks like every horrible scam in the cryptocurrency industry. So super kudos to you for an absolutely, I think, very tasteful troll by the SEC. I don't know if I've ever experienced the desire to say that the SEC is tastefully trolling, but here they are tastefully trolling. They have a white paper, which I'm not going to go through because it's abominable. But here you can see they're just the platinum package, the gold package, the silver package. If your ICOs look like this, then run away. The bronze package, don't want to be bronze. Give me at least the silver. Anyway, the point is we anticipate over 1% daily returns, red flag. Double 2% returns on tier 1, celebrity endorsers, all these things. You want to stay way away from any ICO that even remotely resembles this project. I love that they did this because it's funny, and it's also very not funny because there's so many ICOs that are promising something that sounds almost believable. It makes sense, but it doesn't. Of course, if you read into it, they're hating on scams. They're trying to protect people from investing in scams, and whether we like it or not, this behavior is all too common. So the fact that you or I might not invest into this is great, but we're trying to stop this behavior from endangering real innovation projects that actually would benefit the world, benefit the blockchain industry. And they're getting lumped in right now with this type of ICO scam, and we just need to decouple these in people's minds. So if this helps, then thank you, SEC. Now, we mentioned yesterday that we've been tweeting a lot, and of course, Twitter apparently thought we've been tweeting too much, and they put our account on lock, so we can't even tweet right now. So hashtag FreeFUDTV, and if you're not following us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. Obviously, guys, if you're new around here and you're not subscribed to this channel, we do daily cryptocurrency videos, so we encourage you to hit that subscription button and hit that bell notification so you're made aware whenever we put out new content. I'm Elio Trades. It's been amazing having you with me today on FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.